right, what is happening? And today we are here with Chantelle. How are you, Chantelle?
I am doing great. Thank you. How are you?
Doing awesome, and I'm just so happy to be here with you and having this conversation and learning more about everything that you've been doing and all the amazing stuff that you've done. And so just maybe if you can start like giving us a little bit of a background of like of you. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, well, first off, thank you for inviting me to be on. I'm excited about that. I am Chantelle Turner, and I am the founder of a brand called Not Yet Notable. And what I realized over the last 6 or so years, I came online, actually gave birth to a child with special needs. And in all of the challenges that I faced along that special needs journey, I was really looking for a way to earn some income to support us extra because there's a lot of medical bills that go along with that. And as I started to come online, I realized there were a lot of other special needs parents that actually didn't have access to all the things that I had found out just through my research and what I had discovered. And so I ended up forming my own Facebook group, just a place where I could actually support these parents. And just very quickly was able to attract all of these special needs parents. Very quickly grew that group, and also my brand recognition for a brand that I had called Stronger Mommy, still do that, and how much they associated that with me, my elevation within that space. And even though I was just a parent, I didn't have any kind of formal training or background, they really saw me as the expert in that niche, that person that they would go to. And it really blew up. And so I had people in the online marketing world coming to me saying, how the heck did you do this for your group? I have over 90% still engagement within that group. So not only did it grow very quickly, Facebook actually promotes it for free for me. So I'm constantly getting members that just come into the group, my perfect people. And then the engagement is insane, 90% engagement, and it takes me less than 15 minutes a day. And so I realized that there's actually a framework behind how to do that. And it was very different than what a lot of people teach when it comes to community building, to branding, brand recognition, and really Facebook groups. And so now that's what I do is I help other people build this incredible tribe and really warm up those potential customers and turn them into actual customers that just can't wait to rave about you and your brand and see you as the expert.
That's so awesome. There's so many things that come up to my mind. The first thing is like the amazing. I knew you were like really good with communities and everything, but I actually did not know how that came about. And I think one of the amazing things that I realized as I'm coming into this world of community building and everything, how amazing it is that the community starts helping each other. And so how does that been like playing out with moms, and especially with the background that you just shared with us? How have you seen that kind of played out and stuff?
Yeah, one of the big things that kind of caused me to start my own group was that I did start to join other Facebook groups. Of course, I wasn't the first Facebook group for parents with kids with special needs, but I realized, and I'm sure people have seen this in other groups, there was a lot of negativity in there. And there was just this like vicious cycle of people tearing each other down. And I thought, gosh, this is already happening, obviously out in the real world, and it happens on social media, but why in a private group of all of these people who should get it? Why are we tearing each other down? And so I really didn't want that for my group. I wanted that to, like, my space to be something different. And what happened was I set up very clear expectations. I set up very clear rules for the group. And I ended up having so many people that just couldn't say anything other than like how amazing my group was, how it was their favorite group on social media, how grateful they were that there was not that negativity that was out in the rest of the world. And so I get so much support and help, and the group really kind of runs itself. It's great. But even as a new member comes in, other members will jump in. They'll welcome that person to the group. They're like, hey, welcome. So excited you're here. This is the best group on Facebook. Chantelle's incredible. And so I don't have to do anything already. All of my members, without me doing absolutely anything at all, basically tell the new person that I'm their go-to person, that I'm incredible, that this group is where they should be. And so it's awesome. It works really well.
I know that's so crazy because I was just having my wife is involved with some like grassroots type of stuff because there is some issues that are working in her hometown, and so it's been pretty interesting to kind of have this like the freedom of speech thing, but also like, okay, like would I invite somebody into my house that is like always trying to tear my family down, my friends down, like they're free to say whatever, but like, hey, this is my house. Like, this is kind of how I want these things to be. And so I realized that it seems like that's kind of what you've done in the groups. It's almost like a private property that people, if they get invited into it, then hey, there are rules here. And then that, it's almost like that once you do that, is that kind of like what you realize, that then it kind of weeds out, and then it puts into real the community that you really want, to be able to support each other and fire up each other.
Yeah, 100%. And I love the analogy. I actually use something very similar when I kind of explain how you should show up online and how you should manage a group and how you should show up in other groups. And, you know, as the group owner, as the group admin, you should be very specific about who you serve and only allow those people into your group, because one bad apple really can ruin the atmosphere, right? It's like if you're hosting a party and you invite everybody and the dress code is like, you know, maybe cocktail, and everybody's dressed nice and you're having a good time. And then, you know, the frat house next door decides to send a couple of guys over and they ruin your party. They break your stuff. Like, and all you're thinking is, man, I was having this really great time and these people came in and they ruined it. And it's the same thing for your group. And so you want to be clear in your messaging, in your in the name of the group, in your first question. Especially Facebook lets you ask 3 questions of a group member before they join, if you actually set your group to closed and to approve them as an admin. And so my very first question is always going to be, and I put in big bold letters like required, you have to answer this to get into the group. And I literally am asking a yes or no question that essentially says, are you a perfect fit for this group? So let's go back to my special needs group. I say, are you currently parenting a child with special needs? If the answer is anything other than yes, I don't let them in. So I understand, as a single mom of 6, you might be going through some challenges, but if your 6 kids don't have special needs, go find a single moms group. This is not the place for you. And I'm very clear about that. And so it does
Wow.
strengthen that community. It's the same thing if, you know, you're in the weight loss niche and you have a bunch of like super healthy, you know, fitnessy, like they work out every day, people join, but your niche is people that are overweight, that are just starting that journey. They're just trying to get on board. They're not going to resonate with the people that go to the gym twice a day. In fact, it's going to harm, they're going to feel like their self-worth is lower. And so you have to be so clear about who you allow into your home, just like you said, because you want to set that atmosphere up right.
Absolutely. Wow, that is so crazy to think, because when, as you're saying that, I'm thinking to myself as a, practicing in the hospitals and everything. Whenever a special needs mom comes in, there's a different type of grit there. There is like a different type of, it's nothing to, I mean, amazing mothers, in everywhere. It's just like, I don't know, it's like going to a boot camp or something. There's just like they've been through something. And so it's like when you're clicking like that, like then you can get a real connection, because they've kind of know that you've been through the same thing.
100%. And it's actually why I called the brand and the group Stronger Mommy, because all of us moms, all moms are incredibly strong, and dads, and it is hard to raise a kid, but it is harder to raise a child that has special needs. It just is. And they go through something different. It is a different experience. And it's not an us versus them scenario. It's truly an inclusive space. But in anything, you need to feel like you're in a place, you have a community of people that just get it, that you can be vulnerable and you
Hmm.
can say things that somebody from the outside who hasn't lived that scenario could go, I don't get you. Well, that's okay. You don't need to get me. This is my safe space. This is where the people that know the journey that I'm on right now, they get it. And you know, these moms in that group, they'll post something that would seem outrageous to anybody else. It would just, you would probably, if that was posted on the internet, it would blow up with negative comments. And instead of what would normally be hated on a main community forum, inside of the group, the comments are, oh my gosh, I understand. You have my support. I'm here for you. I've been in your situation. And all of a sudden you take something where somebody would get hurt and ridiculed and be afraid to talk, and you give them a place where they feel supported and understood and welcomed, and it just transforms their lives and the life of that community.
Wow, yeah, for sure. And what's if you, without like talking names or anything, but like what's one of the stories maybe that, because I completely get it, when you're like talking, when you're in a community that gets you, like like 10, like an hour of talking doesn't have to be beforehand to explain how you got there. It's like I get it, I get it. And so that support, and maybe what's kind of like a glimpse into that, or like a story that that kind of sticks in your mind, and how like the community jumped behind this person and helped them? Is there any type of stories that you kind of can remember or kind of recall?
Yeah, for sure. So I've had so many posts and messages and things that come to me all the time of just tons of gratitude from these other moms that are within the community. But one that stands out by far the most that resonated with me, it was pretty early on to the group, actually. I think we maybe had maybe 1,000 members. And this mom sends me a message and she says, I'm sure you get lots of these all the time, but I had to send you this message anyway, because you just need to know I have made more friends in the last 10 minutes of joining your group than I have made in 10 years. And to me, like that 10 minutes of joining the group, and she already connected with other people. She already made friends. And I didn't introduce her to anyone. I didn't walk up to her and say, oh, hey, here's this other person I think you might get along with, and you guys should connect and have a talk and whatever, right? She came into the group, but because I had gathered the right people who understood what she was going through, and because I had set the community up as a place that was going to be supportive and welcoming, she was able to make a friend, a lot of friends, in fact, and she associated that with me, that I had done something. And so in her mind, I was incredible. I had done nothing but create the community. And so that's why it's so powerful, is you can literally change lives every day without doing anything at all.
Yeah, that's so crazy. That it's almost like sisters, like lost sisters. Like they found like their lost sisters, and they're there in this group, all of them. And so like it might be so easy for them to be able to connect and be able to help each other. And it's so crazy because I'm thinking of like the all the studies that show, like, if you, for instance, like if somebody punches you or something, then they do brain scans and they show that the pain levels actually are decreased if somebody's holding your hand, or if there's a loved one right there next to you. And they've done studies now with groups, with community groups online and video conferencing, that is not as much as like if somebody was there physically, but there is actually an effect that happens in the brain to decrease the pain. And so like you're so right, the amount of impact that you can have through this like crowdsourcing type of thing, community support, like is amazing to I mean, it must be amazing to watch.
Well, and I think we feel like because of social media, we're closer together, right? We feel like, oh, well, I'm online all the time and I'm posting on Facebook and I have, 500 Facebook friends, and I'm on Instagram and people are looking at my pictures. And so I think we feel like, or we think that we're more connected than ever
Right.
before. But the truth is we're actually more isolated than ever before. We sit at home, we sit on our phones, we don't have that human person to person contact. And the relationships that we form are very superficial for the most part online, right? You make a post and I click like, or I might comment back. We're not really having a conversation. We're not connected. We're not part of a community. I don't really know you on a deeper level. And so when you can kind of give back some of that community that used to exist, where we used to get together and have a conversation with people, which seems crazy today, without phones, without any of that. When you can give back that community in a space where people are already used to being online, in a platform that they're comfortable with, but you give them a place that's two-sided. They can post, they can engage, they can comment back and forth with other people that are just like them, and it becomes this circle of friends. There are so many people that have connected through my communities, through other communities I've helped other people build, and it really does kind of take this world that has gotten so far apart and just bring the right people back together.
Mm. And has it helped you in like having this group? Has it, in what ways has it helped you yourself? Like how has it helped you and like transform, how you look at the world, and how you deal with the hardships of or the struggles that you have, or the reasons why you started the group in the first place, or how has that helped you?
It's been very interesting. Sometimes it's incredible. Sometimes I want to reach through my computer. I am a very like, just go solve your problem kind of person. And it's why I've been able to help this community so much, because I am a problem solver. It's just who I am. It tends to be a community of people who have a lot of problems, if that makes sense. people that have excuses, have my personality is very forward. Obviously, I am comfortable being on camera or talking to a person in, face to face or any of that. And a lot of these moms, they already weren't extroverted people. They were already introverts. And then you gave them an obstacle that then says to them, oh, I have to be even more introverted because everyone around me is judging, right? They constantly feel like there's so much judgment. And so I come along and I'm like, hey, I don't care if people are judging, own it, like be there. It's okay. Step out of your comfort zone. I am a little bit pushy sometimes. But for me, it's also forced me to grow because I couldn't just know the things I knew about my daughter. I had to learn things to help support this person or help support that person. And so my knowledge has expanded. My level of expertise has grown so much. And I learn, I go and I look for things to learn to help that community, but I learn from them as well. And there's so many intelligent and wonderful, beautiful people inside of that community that I am so grateful I was able to bring together and get to know. And then because of that, I've been able to grow an entire business, well, a couple of businesses actually, through that, just by building what seems on the surface like a very simple community.
That's awesome. And I know you've done speaking and stuff. And so when you speak, what are the main things that you speak about when you go on the road and speak or in events? What are the main topics that you're speaking about?
Yeah, so everything that I do is all focused on that community building, that tribe building. Brand recognition is big. So, for example, I went to Funnel Hacking Live last year. I didn't really know a lot of people in the ClickFunnels community at the time. I knew a couple people, and I happened to be, getting networked, whatever. Saw somebody I knew, and he was like, "Oh, let me introduce you to a bunch of people." And as he was introducing me, two of the people that he introduced me to happened to have special needs kids. I don't even know that he was aware of that.
Wow.
To have special needs kids. And so, when you're networking at an event like that, it's, hi, I'm so-and-so, and this is what I do. What do you do? And so they introduce themselves to me, and then what do you do? And I was like, oh, I'm Chantelle Turner. I'm the founder of a brand called Stronger Mommy. And both of them went, of course I know Stronger Mommy. And I thought, wow, how in the world,
cool.
like just an online community that's in a niche totally unrelated to the event I'm at, but because they're people that also have children with special needs, that brand recognition was so much more broad than I ever thought. I mean, I have 3,000 community members inside my Facebook group, which sounds really small compared to the internet, right? But that doesn't mean that there's only 3,000 people that have ever heard of it. And so I really started to look and see, what is it that I'm doing? What's the framework behind this? Is it just a Facebook group? And everything I do and everything I teach when I go and I speak and all of that is focused on that community building. It's not just a Facebook group. That's really just the mechanism. That's the thing we're using now. It's like an airplane. But tomorrow, if they develop transporters, you can use a transporter to get there. And it's the same thing. If Facebook goes away tomorrow, my tribe will follow me wherever I go because I've built a community. I've built a tribe, and I've built that brand recognition. And so now that's what I help other companies do, what other entrepreneurs do, is to really build a tribe, build a community, elevate your expert status as the person that is, the know-it-all, the person that knows everything in that niche. And then that way, if ever things collapse, you can take those people with you wherever you go. They will follow you because they know, like, and trust you. And then ultimately they buy from you.
Yeah, that's so cool. Like, yeah, if you're right, if Facebook is on tomorrow, then what are your followers? They would go to the next platform with you. I mean, with a 90% engagement, what do you think is the biggest thing that makes that engagement happen?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that actually go into it because it takes me about 15 minutes a day to manage my group, which sounds insane when I tell people. They're like, how are you getting 90% of all your members active and engaged in 15 minutes a day? And so it's a lot of things. It's the structure of the group itself. It's how you set it up. It's who you allow into your group. So I see so many people that just invite all of their Facebook friends. Like 90% of your personal Facebook friends are actually not going to be ideal group members. They're just not. That's not the way to go about it. And then the posts, I really only do 2 posts per week. And I think this is really important. So many people feel like they have to constantly dump content into the group to keep it engaged. And instead, you want your engagement to come from your community. When you post too often, you become noise. And we've all been in groups where we see the admin every single day. They're like, oh, it's Magic Monday. It's Try It Tuesday. It's Work It Wednesday. It's Thirsty Thursday. It's Fantastic Friday. And you're like, I don't give a crap what day it is at all. I'm not interested. Oh, there's Jenny. She's posting again, whatever. Right. Or if it's a live and you're like, well, they've gone live 5 times this week, I'll just catch the one tomorrow. And you never ever watch it. And instead, I do 2 posts per week, and one I call a self-share. So it's where you get to share, like I do mine as Positive Monday. Share something great that happened this past week, and then I hashtag it small steps, giant leaps. So it's searchable. And so for me, inside that group, I just want to give you a place where you can say, hey, something awesome happened in my life, because that might not happen a lot. So what is small win, big win, we're here to celebrate with you. And people love Positive Monday. If you're in a weight loss group, you might do like Weight Loss Wednesday, share how many pounds you lost this week, right? People want to celebrate their wins. And so give them a day, give them a chance to do that and be consistent with it. And then on the flip side, I do 1 live video per week. It's always on the exact same day at the exact same time. And so the consistency means people can learn when to show up. And because it's only once a week, they do show up because they want that content. So sometimes I go live and I talk about something that I want to, that's on my heart, or something I want to teach. Sometimes it's a Q&A. It really just depends. But I'm always live on Monday at the exact same time, so people know when to show up.
Hmm. Oh, that's awesome. And then in terms of now, like you have this amazing community, and so for people who are listening, let's say that they have a community, and then okay, like how do you turn that into a business? How's your experience, or your journey through that? How has that been?
I love that having your community basically gives you that like test group that you can kind of do some market research with, right? So you get to, it's your ideal people. It's an entire group of only people that are your potential customers. And so you can throw something out and see if they bite. You're always dropping your hooks. You're baiting it, and you're like, okay, I made this post and nobody was really interested, or I talked about this thing and nobody really responded. But the other day I talked about this and man, everybody jumped on, right? Okay, they're interested in that. And then you do a poll and you're like, hey, if I were to do some free training on this, and this, what would you guys be the most interested in? And you look at that and you see, ooh, they want this. And so over time, you're able to very quickly see what is it that my community wants, what words, what language are they using, so I can then use their exact words, their exact language. They feel like I'm in their minds, right? And then you just simply do, for those in marketing, you'll have heard of it. It's a product launch formula. You're going to do the same thing inside of your group. So when you know you have something they're interested in, what you can do is you can teach for 3 days. So you teach live day 1, teach live day 2, teach live day 3, and on day 4, you offer them the next step in a pitch. And so, typically you're able to kind of solve an early on problem for them with your first couple days of lives. You solve that problem for them. That creates a new problem. And then you sell the new solution. And what you'll have is a bunch of people that go, oh my God, I just got so much value out of this group, out of the person that's, the admin of this group. And I got a ton of value off the last 3 days. Of course, I can't wait to buy the thing she's selling. She's incredible. And so it makes it all so much easier, and it happens organically. You're not spending money on ads. You're not worrying about, throwing a ton of money into Facebook to see if the market even wants to buy your offer. You can use ads to scale later. Once you know, okay, these are the perfect people that I'm going after, so now I know how to target them, and this is what they want to buy. They already told me by giving me their money. Now you can scale it with ads, and it's so much easier.
That's so crazy. For me, this is like so amazing because I realized at one point I was at this like MLM thing. It's one of the big companies out there. But what I realized was that like, wow, like these people are through shakes are like changing their health, but the incentive is like for them to build a business. But they building a business on their story of their success. And so as a physician, I was like, wow, that's so cool, because a lot of patients struggle with the motivation to be able to change, or like in your case, okay, how do I actually move through like learning about special needs to help my child? And I think entrepreneurship is such a big part, of like how much it helped you grow. And I think that's one of the things that I share, that like a lot of people are struggling financially and then in their health. Is like, why not use that as like a momentum to, okay, let me transform myself. And now I have like a great way to share my story and also teach people exactly what I did, and then and so it's great to hear what, every step of the way that you've done, because it's like you built a community that you needed. And then the community, or that you wanted to see out there, and then this community helped each other, and now you've learned how to turn that into a business for financial health, and then the financial health of other people. And so I think it's just such a big factor on like us getting better, because you can use that as an incentive to actually propose your forward. Do you see that happening at all, or what type of services is your community looking for? Or what do you
Yeah, 100%. And it's the stories that sell, right? It's people love to buy, but they hate to be convinced. I think Myron Golden said it, at least the most recent person I know that said it. There's probably somebody else that has said it, but it's true. We actually like to buy things that feels good. If we didn't like it, if we didn't enjoy buying, we wouldn't do it. I went out and bought the new iPhone because I wanted to buy it, right? Like it felt good to buy, but nobody came to me and convinced me that I needed it. It's like when you go to buy a new car, and for me, this is a big one. I go, I know the things that I want, the features that I want, I know what I'm willing to spend on it, and I really don't need the salesperson's help except to answer a couple of questions. I'm just not interested. But the salesperson is like, I got to sell a car today. I got to sell a car. I got to sell a car. I got to sell a car. And so you get on that lot and they pounce on you. And they're like, hey, do you know about this car? Do you want to check this one out? You got to check this one out. Do you know this feature? And let me open up the hood and show you under here. And before you know it, you're like, I don't even want the damn car. I want you to just leave me alone. Like, forget it. I'm sorry I came. And so when you build this community and you actually can share these stories and connect with people, you're no longer convincing them to buy. You're simply helping them see that you have a solution, and they can't wait to buy that solution. And they are grateful at the end of the day that you gave them the opportunity to purchase it from you. That's what makes a big difference. That's where people will have the most success with whatever it is that you're selling. Right? People that are convinced to buy something typically don't implement it properly or don't implement it all, whether it's a physical product that they never use or a course that they never watch. It doesn't matter because they were convinced to buy it. So they spent their money, but they didn't have the mental buy-in. But when somebody wants to buy it and they are grateful that you actually allowed them to purchase from you, they can't wait to dig in. They can't wait to mix up that shake or try on that shirt or go watch that course because they wanted it. And so your impact is bigger, your financial income is bigger, and all around it's just a better experience for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. You're so right. It's like they need it. It's like, you're creating what they demand in, it's like what you've, and there's something that they need. And so it's like, it feels great to create it, and it feels great to sell it. It feels great for them to buy it. It's just all good.
Yeah. And I always tell people, when you're creating your group, like, I think people are afraid to give away the farm, right? Oh, but it's just a bunch of freebie seekers because my group's free or my community's free or whatever, right? And then if I give away all my secrets, they're never going to want to buy from me. But instead, if you actually give them a little bit, give them a win, people are so much more excited for the next big win that you can give them. If let's say you have a Make Money Online group. If that's your thing, it's all about making money online. If you, as a group member comes in, you teach them how to make $5, you didn't change their life, but they came in and they made $5 and they're like, I just made $5. If they can help me make $5, they can probably help me make 500 or 5,000 or 5 million. I just need to step up my game. I just need to work with this person. But if you promise that that they're going to be able to make money, and then they come in and you give them nothing, they lose that trust with you, and they don't want to buy from you, and you're into the convincing mode. Instead of having them go, oh my God, you already helped me so much. How can I, what's next? Can I buy it? I want it. And that's the feeling that we need.
For sure. For sure. And if Chantelle, if we were watching a movie about your life, what would be one of the craziest moment, or like a moment that we would say, dang, what would be one of those moments?
Yeah. So talked a little bit about my daughter having a stroke during birth. Well, maybe I didn't say that.
No. Yeah.
So maybe.
Yeah. Wow. No, you didn't say that at all. You said that she was special needs, but right.
Yeah. So during birth, she had a stroke. We actually didn't know that. I went into labor full term. We went to the hospital, and they ended up doing an emergency C-section because her heart rate was dropping out every time I would have a contraction. And so they did the C-section and they got her out, and then they checked her and they said she was fine. And they're like, we don't know why her heart rate was dropping, but she's healthy, she's good. And they gave her to us. And so for a couple hours, we were this blissfully happy family in the maternity room. My parents came up, they live a couple hours away. Everybody's gathering around to meet the first grandbaby, our first child. And then her temperature was a little low, her blood sugar was a little low. And so her doctor did his rounds, right? And you're in the medical field, so you know. So the pediatrician, they come, they look at the baby, and he looks at her and he says, I don't know what's wrong, but something is wrong and she needs to be in the NICU. And within 20 minutes of her being up in the NICU, she had 2 seizures that were apneic episodes. They stopped her breathing. She turned blue. She was in the NICU. So thank God they revived her right away. And then they had to figure out what was going on. And so it took 3 days of doing EEGs, a CT, eventually an MRI. And the neurologist came to present the MRI to us. And my husband and I were sitting on the hospital bed. My parents were sitting across in the room on some chairs. And he opened up a red folder, which had the MRI scans in it. And he circled a very dark portion on one of the MRI scans. And he said, do you see this dark portion of your child's brain? Well, that portion of her brain is dead. And so she's going to have cerebral palsy. She had a left middle cerebral artery stroke. We don't really know what her prognosis will be. If she ever walks, it will probably look like this. And then he proceeded to physically act out what a child with cerebral palsy might look like. And it was the most devastating moment of my life. And I didn't understand how it had happened. I didn't understand what cerebral palsy really meant. Over time, we were able to overcome that. And so I think anyone sitting watching that movie their heart would have stopped with mine. Hearing that a portion of your child's brain is dead is probably the words that will haunt me for the rest of my life. But at 6 years old today, because of the work that we've put in and because of how incredible the brain truly is, she walks, she runs, she jumps, she's in first grade, she talks, like if you just met her, you wouldn't necessarily know right away that she has, challenges.
Wow.
We're in a ton of therapy and we're going through all sorts of stuff and we deal with seizures and it's not an easy road, but every single day she gets better. And so I think there's a happy ending to the movie. And I can't wait to see, how much greater life can be.
Wow, that's such an amazing story. Woo, I did not know anything of that. So thank you for sharing that story, and that's an amazing story. Yeah, I mean, definitely that's a moment in the movie where everybody would have been at the edge of their seat and with their holding their heart, with their arms, one of those defining moments. And then now that you've grown through all of this, wow, like, yeah, you're saying like there's a happy story and you're writing that next chapter continuously, because you're that type of person. What's next for Chantelle? What's next? What's in your horizon? What's coming up next?
Yeah, so I have big dreams for Stronger Mommy and for what I can do with that, but it will require additional funding. So I'm kind of putting that business on hold and really just strengthening that community, continuing to support them while I actually build up the financial side so that I can then turn around and support that passion project. And so for me, what's next is helping other people to be able to build up that tribe, that community, that following, to support their own. And so I am very focused on impact and other people that are looking to make an impact, because that's what has gotten me. I always call it the non-scale victory of business. So for those who are familiar with weight loss, right, you have the non-scale victories. Like, today you got on the scale and it said you lost 2 pounds, but tomorrow you got on the scale, it doesn't say anything, but your pants are better. And you're like, well, the scale stayed the same, but I feel better. I look better. So it's your non-scale victory. And the same has to be true for you to sustain it in business, because there will be days where you make your money and then there will be lows where you make $0, but you will make an impact. And if you're driven by that, it's your non-scale victory where you can say, you know what? I didn't make $1 today, but I changed a life. And that's just as important, if not more so, because I know the dollars will come later. And so that's who I'm focused on helping, who I'm focused on supporting, are people that are looking to make an impact and then also make an income, not the other way around.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. I love that. Yeah, that's so cool, because we get caught up on that. And then, or you can just get focused on the impact side of things and then not put the whole picture together. But the most important thing is the impact. And then once they come together, with good rewards for the work that you're doing, then it's just like more energizing, and then you can help and more make more impact. So that's awesome. I think that's it. So thank you so much for sharing with us. How can people get to know you, or what are the different things that you can help people? I heard the community thing, right? That's the main thing. And so people who are trying to build a community, where can they go?
Yeah, for sure. So I do a lot, and I actually teach a lot for free on my Facebook page. Just on my on my personal page, you can find me Chantelle Paige Turner. Like, I'm a real page turner. People always make the joke, but I am writing. I've
That's
actually got
cool.
4 chapters in 4 different books coming out this year, and then I've got my own book as well. So the joke is there. You'll all remember me, Chantelle Paige Turner. So find me on Facebook, or notyetnotable.com. I actually have a free web class up right now that actually goes through some of the core aspects of building out a Facebook group, why it's so important, and how to do it. And so you can find it at notyetnotable.com.
Oh, that's awesome. And right before we go, like you just triggered my curiosity. Which 4 books are you writing?
Yes. So let's see if I can remember them all. Overcoming adversity is so I have a chapter in 4 of these books. Air Fryer Secrets, which is all about marketing, even though it sounds strange, it's all about marketing. It's actually like 60 different marketing experts. Your $1,000,000 Story, which is all about, you'll see a lot of my backstory in there about what happened, how it's driven me forward, the financial impact that it's eventually had on our family in such a positive way, and that journey.
Wow.
And then the 4th one, I think, is still getting renamed. So that one, I'm not entirely sure what they're calling that one. And then my own book that I should have coming out this year is actually a collection of letters from parents who have children with special needs. Just letters to their
Oh,
children about how incredibly amazing they are, letters to a doctor or a social worker that made a positive impact on their life, a letter to a stranger that just needs to hear it. It is just truly an uplifting book from these other special needs parents.
that's awesome. Oh, I want to get that book. Whenever you're done with it, let me know. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'll definitely get one of those. Yeah, but thank you so much for sharing all of this with you. So, so the book, so the community in your page, a lot of teaching, and then the um,
Notable.
not yet notable. Gotcha. Not yet notable. And this is specifically for people who are looking for the training on how to build a community, right?
Yes, yeah. And
Gotcha.
brand recognition is so important. I
And
mean,
brand recognition.
people knowing who you are and what you do, and having that spread. I mean, at this point, it's, somebody says, hey, how do I build a Facebook group, or how do I get better engagement in my group? 200 people I've never met will tag me. Like, that's what's important, right? I don't have to do the marketing. I don't have to be like, oh, that's me, I'll show you how to do it, I'm amazing. I have people tagging me for no, like, they don't get anything out of it except that they just know it's my specialty, it's my area. And so everybody needs that. The last thing I'll leave you with is to think of Apple, right? So whether you're an Apple fan or not, it's very polarized, but they have done something very strategic with their branding and with their business, to the point where now people will line up to buy the latest, greatest, newest
Mhm.
thing, and they don't even really know what they're buying. They just want to buy it anyway. And
Right.
then when other people try to put Apple down, when other non-Apple users try to put them down, Apple fans will come in and defend Apple. So Apple has to do very little to maintain the status of their company, because they've built up that trust and that brand recognition so strongly that people say, okay, well, I know Apple products are great, I'm going to go buy one. And if somebody wants to put it down, I'm going to defend them. And we need that in our own businesses for ourselves.
For sure. That's awesome. Awesome, Chantel. Well, thank you so much. I hope this was great. Thank you so much for doing this. And I look forward to doing another one, in a year or so, and seeing how everything is going in your books and everything.
Yes, for sure. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
For sure. Alrighty. Until next time.